Hi friends, it's Julia. I'm here to share two cards that I made using one of the kits that I put together from my own stash. As I make layouts with the kits that I create, occasionally I don't have time to create a layout or I don't have the inclination to create a layout. So what I'll do is I will make cards. And I try and always include stamp sets and dies and things in my kits that can be conducive to not only scrapbooking but to card making as well. And here you can see I'm making two cards, which is pretty common. It's typically what I do. If I'm going to go through the process of making one, I'm just automatically going to make two. And so I've stamped out a couple of sentiments there. And I've also die cut some doilies to go behind the sentiments. And so as I'm layering up my cards, I've been following along on Christy Marcotte's videos where she layers the paper, the pattern papers that she puts down. Initially it doesn't look like I'm going to, but then I do. I go back and I layer up everything as I'm going along. You'll see that as it happens. And I have the paper that I'm using to go behind. If I don't have enough scrap paper within the kit to layer up, to mat everything on, then what I typically will do, I have a small stash of 8.5 by 11. I think it's 60 or 65 pound card weight from Michaels. You know those different variety packs of colors that you can get? Well, I've got tons of that left. I say tons. I've given part of it away to my granddaughter's elementary school, and I think my sister took some home with her once, but I still have quite a bit. A file folder, I think, left of it in all different colors, and so I tried to keep the colors that I felt like I would get the most use out of, the neutrals, the beiges, the browns. I think I have some dark blue and dark greens. Excuse me. And so I use that to layer up. It doesn't add a whole lot of weight, and I'm not using it as a supporting paper, so it's the lightweight of it works very well for cards. And I think that's a tip that Christy Marcotte gave on her videos as well. And I think it just adds a really nice presentation to the card and all the layers of paper that are on it. It almost makes each pattern paper look special in that it's framed, if you will, because it's on the mat. So I'm going through, and all the pattern papers that I have there are scrap papers from within the kit itself. There's that piece there that I'm pulling out now that has foiled triangles on it. There's the rusty color background paper. There's the cream and rusty color floral paper. And then there's a piece of that light cardstock in gray. And so I'm just taking some of that brown cardstock and layering up behind each different layer of card. These two cards, I didn't have a special purpose for them, and I don't always. Sometimes I'll just make random cards and use them as just a blank note card. And I have a friend who does that where she collects cards for I think a couple of different military organizations, and she just asked that there be no glitter on them. And so sometimes I'll make up these cards, you know, and after my card box at home gets full, then I will pass them on. What I don't use, I'll pass on to her so that she can donate them to the organizations that she provides to. And it helps me out too because I buy like my close to my heart product from her, and she gives me a little bit of a discount, like a $5 off for each 5 or 10 cards that I donate to her. So it works out for both of us pretty well. She doesn't have to make all the cards for donation, and I get a little bit of a discount. So it works. And you can see I've pretty much got everything all layered up now, and I'm going through and finally tacking everything down. And pretty simple card process here. Nothing fancy. just paper layers out of paper scraps. And I think that's the best way to make cards. I know Christy Marcotte does it by making the like 20 or 30 cards out of a 6x6 paper pad. I've thought about trying that process, but I haven't yet. What I do make is different kits, if you will. I buy like a partial kit and I add to it from my stash, and then I make 12 cards out of one kit. That's as far as I've gotten with that whole process at this point. But it's what Christy Marcotte does. If you haven't seen her, please go check out her videos because she makes some absolutely lovely cards. I'm getting close to getting everything finished up here, and as I go along, you'll see I believe I used a sketch to put these together, and I make them the exact same way. Both cards are the exact same, and that's typically what I do. I will, choose one sketch and then make 2 cards with it, because what's the point of making just 1 card at a time, right? You typically always have enough supplies to make at least 2 cards. I lost a little bit of footage here of me gluing stuff down, so sorry about that. I'm sure you were all interested in watching me glue things down. But it's all the cards are all put together now. The sentiments are a little bit different on each one, and that's okay. So what I call these are card fronts, and sometimes I will just pass those along to my friend, just a ton of card fronts. Sometimes I'll give her 20 or 30 card fronts that I've never attached to cards, and she will still give me the discount and still be able to use all of this, all the card fronts, to create more cards. Anyway, so that's it for this video and for these 2 cards. I appreciate you sticking around and watching the video. And if you like it, I'd love it if you'd flip me a thumbs up. And I'd love, too, for you to subscribe. And I hope I inspired you to get into your stash and create something new. Have a great day, everyone.